Boom. We are back with the 162nd edition of the Quarantinecast. I'm really excited for this one. I'm joined by someone who I haven't spoken to before, but I'm really, really excited to. It's Stephen Peterson. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
First things first, man. It's been a while since we've seen you. So overall, how are you feeling physically after such a long layoff?
Honestly, never better. I feel like I'm coming into my prime as an athlete in my health and as a martial artist. And I feel like I've never been better.
I guess before talking about the physical side of things the past year or so, how are you doing mentally? I mean, the pandemic's just been brutal on a lot of people. How have you been where you're at? Obviously, you're in Texas, so I'm sure training there is more open. But how's your training been the past 2 years?
It was kind of crazy, honestly. The whole lockdown and all that. Things kind of just came to a halt. I was actually recovering from surgery, so it was kind of perfect timing if something like that were to happen. But mentally, that was rough. I think it was rough on everybody. I I'm not one to lay down and just accept things. So I use that as a time to kind of rekindle some old friendships and hang out with some people that haven't hung out with in years because of my career and training and whatnot. Some old friends. So got a lot of family time and I tried to use it as productive as possible. But it was rough, just everything being closed and whatnot. But Texas, we were one of the first to open up, and there was all kinds of things going on behind the scenes. But the restaurants and the bars and the clubs opened up pretty quickly, and then that became a big scene, and that was pretty much the only thing that was open at first, and then the gyms opened back up, and now we're back rolling 100%.
And then as for physically, I mean, you talked about your surgery. You had two fights over the past 2 years kind of fall through due to injuries. How are you feeling and how's the recovery been?
It's great. I had a injury with my arm. It had been an ongoing thing throughout my career. Probably 8 years ago, I chipped some bones in there, and they were floating around, and they were jarring themselves into the joint, and it was causing all kinds of issues with the ligaments, and it was just a constant pain. So it had gotten to the point where it was so bad that I had to get surgery, and so I got that out of the way. Originally, it was supposed to be orthoscopic surgery where they go in with the scope and they take out the bone chips. But once they got in there, they realized the damage was kind of extensive. So they repaired some ligaments, and so it led to a much longer layoff than I had anticipated.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing that all these fighters like put off like surgery. Like I'll do that somewhere down the line. Obviously, at that time you were in the UFC, you had aspirations and all that. In retrospect, when you look back on it, is it something you wish you had taken care of sooner, or are you just kind of happy with the way things unfolded?
Yeah, I had to wait. I wasn't at a position at any point in my career where I could do that. And then coming off of that spinning back fist knockout, I wanted to get that one more fight that I was training for, and then I was going to have the surgery, but had just gotten so bad in training camp to where I couldn't even extend it. So punching with that arm was pretty much non-existent. So it was time to get it fixed. I didn't want to go out there and not perform and have an excuse in my mind. I wanted to go out there. Even if I'm injured, I got to be able to fight through it, and that was something that I just couldn't fight through at the time, and I had to get it fixed.
Speaking of the spinning back fist knockout, that was one of the most impressive, if not the most impressive spinning back fist knockouts we've ever seen in the UFC. When you look back on it, obviously that was the last time you fought. So, the last highlight we had of yours was that knockout. When you look back on it, how do you assess your performance going into that fight? And I guess when you look back on it, what's it look like from your perspective?
I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I went out there. I measured him up. First round, I kind of pushed the pace, and let him overexert himself. Let him be the aggressor in that round, and in the second round, I came out. I had him measured up, and I started throwing some real heat, and then the opportunity presented itself, and I took it, put him away.
You did it on like I'd say foreign territory. I mean, you've been to Mexico before, but you were in his backyard. What did it feel like to get it done in front of his audience?
Yeah, I knew I had to get a finish. Fighting a Mexican in Mexico City, and he was the Mexican Ultimate Fighter winner. It was like I had just got robbed in the fight before that when I fought Caceres, and I was like, I'm not going to get robbed again. I'm fighting this guy in his home turf. Now I know it can't go to the judges' scorecard, so I knew that wasn't an option, and that's kind of why I fought the first round in the way that I did, and then held nothing back in the second round.
One of the things is you kind of had your back against the wall in that one. Like you said, I mean, you were going to Mexico. You were fighting him in his turf. You couldn't go to decision because we know what happens in Mexico. And I mean, previously against Matt Bissett, same sort of thing. Your back was against the wall. Do you find you perform best when there's a little bit of pressure on you?
Oh yeah. I said it before the fight as well. You're gonna see how I react when my back's against the wall, and that's when I do my best. When guys are like really trying to hurt me, that's when I shine. It's do or die situation, and that's where I thrive. And so I just need to continue to put myself in those type of positions where I thrive in chaos. So cause a little bit of chaos, and that's where I'm going to perform my best.
And that leads me to this next question. Someone else who thrives under chaos in a different way is Chase Hooper. You're fighting him next month. He tends to fold a little bit when he gets, I guess, beat up on the feet. But when things go to the ground, that's when he tends to thrive. How do you? I mean, you're a month out from this fight. How excited are you to get back in there against someone like Chase Hooper?
Man, I'm stoked. The kid's got a lot of steam for him. Everybody's following him. He's only got one loss, but I think it's an excellent matchup for me. I feel like I deserve the push that he's getting by the UFC, by social media. He's got quite the following, and he's getting paid more than me if the numbers that I see online are true. So I've been fighting for 13 years. I'm not a rookie. I've earned everything that I got. I've fought for world titles. I've won world titles. It's just a matter of time before I get what I'm due, and I feel like this is my opportunity to show what I'm worth and what I deserve. And I feel like he has what I deserve, so I need to go out there and take it from him.
He's been a name that's been on your tongue for a little while now. I mean, when you were forced out of the bout with Choi, his name was the one that you mentioned. Is there a reason for that other than the fact that he's a young kid that's got a lot of hype?
Exactly. It's because he has what I feel like I deserve, and there's a lot of these kids just like that. They go out there, and he doesn't have the most padded record, but it's still a pretty padded record. Everybody that I fought had a winning record. I have, my opponent's combined record is amongst the top. I look at everybody else that has, except for guys like Cub Swanson or BJ Penn or like the real OGs. They have a good opponent's combined record. Myself, I have a really good opponent's combined record. But a lot of these kids coming up, their opponent's combined records are upside down, and they get into the UFC, and then now we're making all this money, and they really haven't earned it. They haven't fought for it. I've bled. I've lost my lifestyle. I mean, I've lived in the slums. I've not been able to pay my bills. I've gone through personal issues because of my career path, and I didn't have the easy. I didn't choose an easy path. I chose the hard path, but that's why I am where I am, and I'm better for it.
I think stylistically too, this is an amazing matchup. I mean, yes, his jiu-jitsu is incredible, but you've never been submitted. And I think that shows a lot. I mean, you fought guys, Alex Caceres, who beat him, Luis Pena, who's very legit at 155. When you look at your record, do you think that the the ground area is somewhere that you can kind of nullify, or do you think that he does have a little bit of an advantage there, or do you feel you have the advantage?
I feel like I have the advantage wherever this fight goes. Obviously, it doesn't matter who you go to the ground with, or look at Jacare. He got his arm broken. You can't ever go to the ground just arrogant, thinking I got everything on this guy. But I feel like when it goes to the ground, I'm going to mind my p's and q's, and I'm going to show that I'm dominant in that area as well. Um, Obviously, I'm not going to just jump right into his guard willingly. I may or may not avoid it based on the opportunities I see. But if that's his only saving grace, then I might as well just keep it standing and beat the hell out of him.
One of the things you talked about was, the adversity, the struggles that you went through, and you hear this with so many mixed martial artists. I want to talk particularly about one fight, and that was the Dana White Contender Series. It was your chance to get in, and you came up short. How do you rebound from that? I mean, at that point in your career, you probably felt like, that was your shot. How do you rebound from that and then go on and win another fight and get into the UFC?
I just didn't accept the loss. I knew that it being a split decision, and it was a hell of a fight. It was close, and if I had not been so aggressive, I might not have ate those knees, and those knees were the main thing that stood out in that fight was me running into flying knees. But I was on Dana White's Contender Series. It was like you got to go, you got, and that was the first season. They didn't hand out as many contracts as they do on these seasons. It was one or two a night. So I was going out there, and in my mind, I was going to get that contract or die trying. And I came short. It was a split decision, but I knew the fact that it was a split decision, it was just a matter of time. I just had to make a couple adjustments, and then I would get to the UFC for sure.
I want to talk a little bit about something that's interested me for a little while now. My favorite animal is a lemur, and you happen to have one. How awesome is it to have one hanging around your house, and are they good pets?
It's super dope. I love having him around, but he's also a pain in the ass. It's like a love hate relationship type deal. Sometimes I'll be chilling, eating, watching TV, and he'll just come sit on my lap, and I'll feed him. And then other times I'll be trying to take a nap, and he'll jump on my face and bounce off of it, and where I'm sleeping in my room, and he'll slam on the door. Like literally, he knows I'm talking. He just slammed on the door right now. He knows I'm talking about him. He'll come out there and just bang on the door, or if I leave my door unlocked, he'll unlock her. He'll open it up and wake me up. So it can be a pain in the ass, but other than that, it's really enjoyable, and the chicks love him. So
How long have you had them?
I've had him about 8 months now.
Oh wow, so relatively new.
Yeah,
They last, they last
they
a while, right?
supposedly live from 20 to 30 years. So the reason behind it was my son was doing the school online, and it was the lockdown, the friends, no friends, and I had bought him like four hamsters over the course of the last couple of years, and they all die so quickly. So I was like, I got to get an animal that's going to last him until he's an adult. More of an emotional support animal. What better than a lemur?
Yeah, I mean it's a long term commitment though.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I'm in it for the rest of his life for sure.
Um, I want to talk about something that you haven't had to experience yet during the pandemic, and you won't have to in this fight. It's the no attendance. I mean, you were fortunate enough to get put on a card with an audience. With the way you fight, do you think that this is favorable for you?
Everything happens for a reason, and I wouldn't rather fight any other way. I mean, I couldn't imagine fighting with no crowd. I've thought about it, but it's just, what's the point? It's eerie. It's weird. Why am I beating the hell out of this guy? I don't, feel the crowd behind me. Sure, it's on TV, but the experience is so different. When you fight in front of a live crowd, the energy gets behind you. It's just, I mean, you get goosebumps. Even just standing in the crowd, you get goosebumps. When I'm in the cage, I feel like I'm unstoppable, and that's I feed off that energy. So it's definitely in my favor. I don't know about Chase, but whether it be in his favor or not, I mean, I definitely prefer to have the crowd.
All right, I'll ask you one last question, and then I'll let you go. There's a big fight also on that card, and couldn't go without asking you a prediction for that main event: Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori.
I think Marvin Vettori is going to be way too aggressive. Izzy's going to kind of use his footwork and hit him with that check hook coming in, and I think Izzy's going to make light work of him.
All right, man. And then we'll end on this note. Is there anyone you want to thank before we end it? And what can we expect from you next month?
First, you can expect violence coming out of these hands and these knees and these legs, just all around violence in UFC 263. If you would please follow me on Instagram and Twitter at 8ocho08. And I want to thank my sponsors, CWL.law, Limitless Sport Picks, Hutch's Barbecue, New Lifespan, Dank Vodka, Chandler Cabinets, and Physically Fit Nutrition. Thanks, guys.